So the question is, what is the biggest challenge facing churches today? And to that I would respond, how well do you deal with change? Because that is the challenge that we face as churches and as individuals. And most churches do not handle change very well. And because they don't handle change very well, we tend to, as churches, lose our credibility and effectiveness. All of us have to deal with change. And churches ought to be equipping us to deal with change much better than they do oftentimes. So I was preaching last Sunday and talking about Jonah. And Jonah was in one of those circumstances in his life where he had to deal with change. And he didn't handle it very well. Matter of fact, chapter 1 and verse 2 of Jonah tells us that Jonah thought that the wisest thing he could do when God told him to go and preach to the Ninevites was to go in the opposite direction, to leave the presence of God. And so often, as an avenue of trying to deal with change, we make similar mistakes ourselves. We end up moving ourselves outside of God's presence. So, I think that credibility, integrity, honesty, truth, respect, relevance, and trustworthiness are essential. And all of these either become highlighted by the way we deal with change, or they become obscured because we don't deal with change very well. Seems to me that people come to church not looking so much for the programs and the activities, though these are important, but they come to look for a place to belong. They come looking for a community of hope, and they're looking for the church to be a place that can offer them hope, that can equip them to deal with change. Every family has to deal with change. Moms and dads, sons and daughters, we all have to deal with change. And as we come to church, we ought to be a part of a community which provides us a framework where we can embrace the challenges of life in a way that has us bearing testimony to the power and effectiveness of our relationships with the Lord. The pressure of not handling change well has many churches as well as many individuals becoming hard. They become more inflexible. And in this way, churches can become entrenched clubs which care more about the happiness of members than reaching out in the community and reaching out to those who are hurting. So, with encouragement, people grow. People need to be encouraged as they're dealing with change. So, all churches are facing the great challenge of communicating the gospel of Jesus Christ in an ever-changing society in a way which has us believing that what God's Word offers to us is efficacious and effective in equipping us to be better people. So, in the context of dealing with the challenge of change in a world like ours, it becomes ever more important for the church to be committed to a process of discipleship. One of the passions that I have is spiritual formation and making sure that we don't just have people show up on Sundays, but they appreciate the value of their being a part of a church which provides them a framework for the effective exercise of their faith. And this is what discipleship is. It is a framework for the effective exercise of faith. So, change comes in all shapes, sizes, and is entirely unpredictable. Some change is bad, some change is good, but churches which are passionate about discipleship and spiritual formation are those churches which embrace and handle change better. So the biggest challenge facing the church today perhaps has been the same challenge that churches and people of all ages have faced, and that is handling change.